What's happening, guys?
Whiskey of the Year.
The big
time.
one, baby. Whiskey of the Year time.
It's a tough one this year.
Tough one.
Really, really tough.
The last 2 years, Scotch sucked. Scotch is back this year.
Yeah, I don't know about it sucked, but it's always a tricky one, and it depends on what you try. It's impossible to try everything, and some things hit and some things miss. But we feel like there were a lot of 2022 releases that really hit the spot. A few new discoveries. Made it really hard to narrow it down to our top 5 whiskeys of the year. This is the only review, same as every year before, where we factor in value and availability.
Yeah.
Right? So it kind of needs to be somewhat available, like not impossible to get. And we factor in value. So meaning if something is $50 and it scores, let's say, an 88 or something like that, it's going to end up being incredible value versus something that's, let's say, scores a 90, but it's $1,000. And, that wouldn't obviously make it. So factoring in price and quality, and it needs to be somewhat available. That's kind of the theme we've gone with. Ideally, released in 2022. If it has been released before, then we focus on the 2022 release of that bottle. So those are the kind of the rules. Without further ado, this year we kind of did our own list. We couldn't completely agree on 5 bottles together. Normally we kind of give and take and form a 5 together.
So many options.
But this year we're like, you know what? You do yours and I'll do mine. And that's kind of the direction we've gone. So Mikey, what's your 5th bottle of the year?
Number 5, Lagavulin 8.
All right, you got your reasons?
It's $50 in our area
Yeah.
and 48% ABV.
Yeah.
And the essence of Lagavulin.
Yeah.
Incredible. It can go toe-to-toe with any 10 to 12-year-old peated whiskey.
Yeah. And I could easily put that in there too. It's so hard to narrow it down to 5. And this might be in my 5. It might be higher than 5. But tricky. It's one of those where it wasn't solely released in 2020. There was years released before. Right. We've just never highlighted it as a top 5 before. And you really want to show the incredible value of this 8-year-old. And of course, it was released as well in 2022. So can't go wrong here, Mike. Can't go wrong. My number 5 is going to be one of my favorite whiskeys, actually, of the year. Now, this Edredauer, 22 years old, absolutely stunning whiskey. 22-year-old Edredauer at cask strength, and it's 300 pounds in the UK. I've never seen this in the United States. Take out VAT and all that stuff, it comes out to somewhere around $300, $310 plus shipping. So it's not cheap, but I had to include it on the list because it is absolutely a stunning whiskey. Review to come soon. And we will review this soon, and you guys will find out why it's such a spectacular whiskey. Obviously, if it was cheaper, it would rank higher than number 5. But given the value, kind of hard to get, only in the UK. But these are available in the UK. You can find them still even. And it's just a spectacular whiskey. And I had to put it in my top 5. It was one of my favorites this year. But given the price, it ranked at number 5.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. Go. My number 4 is Tamdu 18. This might be my favorite core range regular 18-year-old this year.
Yeah.
And just came on the scene, it seems like, and it's just taken over all the 18-year-olds.
Yeah. I don't blame you for picking that one as your number 4. My number 4 this year is...
There you go.
Tamdu 18. I couldn't figure out which one to do with my 5 and 4. I could easily go either way. The reason why I picked this is it was 140 pounds. You took out that, and given our low exchange rate, we ended up getting this for $140, and that's why. But I think it's different than the current 18s available. It has some old schoolness about it, and I truly just really enjoyed it. It is, you can't go wrong. Richly sherried, extremely elegant. We have a review on our channel on it, and it's my number 4 as well, the Tamzu 18-year-old. And it was released in 2022. The first time it was released was this year, which adds to the fact of highlighting it in our top 5.
Absolutely.
What's your number 3?
Number 3. Springbank 15, 2022 release. So Springbank 15 is always 100% Oloroso, but this is an Oloroso perfectly integrated Campbelltown sherry bomb.
Delicious. It's in my glass right now, Mikey.
It's as good as it's been.
Yeah.
Springbank is killing it right now.
I agree. It's a phenomenal whiskey. Retails here for $160, so it's not cheap. In the UK, forget about it, impossible to get. But we mentioned that availability matters. We actually could get these here for $100, and it's expensive. It's $160. It's not cheap, but the quality's great. It's Springbank. It's richly sherried whiskey, and we are lucky enough where if we wanted multiple bottles of this here, we can get it, right. But it's not cheap. It's quite a bit more expensive than the UK. Absolutely. Double the price, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
As with a lot of bottles.
Yeah. All right. My number 3 whiskey is going to be the Lechek 18-year-old. This thing is spectacular. This thing could be number 1. It's truly my new value 18 of the year. It is, we recently did a review of it. It goes for, when you're buying it from the UK, you're able to get it for around $85. And when you take out that, and the quality, the ABV, and the complexity that you get, the full experience, the elegance, it is one of the best values in all of Scotch whiskey. It's not solely a 2022 release, but of course, this is a 2022 bottling, and that's what we reviewed. And it is a 2022 discovery for us. It's not something that we've been drinking all the time, so it was a pleasant surprise in 2022. Yeah, can't say enough about it. That's my number 3. Your number 2, Mikey?
Number 2. Same thing.
There you go.
Number 2. That good.
Yeah.
Lechek 18. It's, if you like Lechek 10, it's everything of the Isle of Mull taken to the next level. It's got some nice sherry influence to it. It's just amazing. And for value 18-year-olds, it's right there at the top.
Yeah.
70 pound in the UK.
You take out VAT, yeah?
Yeah, ex-VAT, unreal.
Yep,
unreal.
Absolutely stunning. My number 2 is gonna be the Bunnahabhain 12-year cask strength 2022 release. On our channel, we have reviewed the 2021 release and the 2022 release, and we scored this one 7 points higher than last year's release. Much better, bigger, heavily sherried experience. It's a sherry bomb, but it's really good quality, and it just totally took me by surprise. The value is stunning at about $70, $75 or so, and being cask strength, non-chill filtered, no coloring, any of that stuff. Just a complete sherry bomb that actually almost drinks older than 12. and offers you a really kind of a high-end experience for what it is. So great value, 2022 release, a special release. Not out in the US yet, but it will be. You can still find these in the UK. What is your number one, Mikey?
Without further ado, number 1. The Glentoret 12.
The Glentoret 12. And I'm not going to go ahead and put this bottle back. It is also my number one. The Glentoret 12 is going to be our number one whiskey of the year. Specifically, cheating here a little bit, and I'll explain. The 2021 release. The reason why we're picking the 2021 release, because in the US, the 2021 release was released in 2022. I get it in the UK, it was released the year before, but here in the States, we got it this year. So that's why we're including it, and I think it is the closest thing. It reminds us so much of the older Macallan 12s that we enjoyed so much, and the quality, the richness, the ABV being at 46%, the presentation on this thing, Lalique really made a nice glass, and here retails for about $70, offers fair value, and there are certain notes in this whiskey, Mike, that you and I just really, mainly that burnt sticky toffee note that we really enjoy, and it just offers this kind of old school kind of sherry experience that we absolutely adore. Any of the other whiskeys that we put on this list, including the Springbank that I didn't include on mine, I could have easily included that. And you could almost switch the order on these and argue the order on these in any which direction you want.
Absolutely.
Easily switch them, but there's something about it. I've already gone through 3 bottles of the 2021 release.
There's your
Just
go.
is so tasty, constantly sharing, constantly wanting to drink it, constantly reaching for it. It's not so much that it scores better than there's other things on the list. It's more that we're reaching for it more often.
Good.
And constantly reaching for it and constantly wanting more. It's such a delicious whiskey that you kind of want to go for on so many occasions. So for that reason, it's going to be both of our whiskey of the year.
Yes, sir.
It's been a fun year.
It's been a really great year for Scotch.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Scotch is back.
Yeah, it's funny because we keep talking about how we're actually drinking more bourbon matured whiskey,
Right.
but that seems like it's been more independent bottlers.
Yes.
With a lot of independent bottlers that we've been drinking a lot of, but it seems like our top 5 was sherry, so a lot of good sherry in 2022 came out.
Right, in the OB.
Yeah. So there you go, Whiskey of the Year 2022. Excited to see what 2023 brings us. Happy New Year to everybody, and we will see you guys soon for reviews in 2023.
Keep it coming. Let us know. What are your favorite whiskeys of 2022?
Yes. Cheers.
Cheers.